Hi guys, so this is going to be a no BS video. We're going to go in depth about Tyson Fury, talking about why he is such a great fighter. I did a video previously, going back a few months ago. I believe it was entitled Tyson Fury, The Truth Hurts. Um, in this video, we're going to talk about similar things, but something a bit different in this video. And if you're a Tyson Fury fan, please share this video. If you agree with what I'm saying, share this video. Don't just share it on your Twitter, share it in your Facebook, share it in your Twitter, share it in your Instagram, share it wherever you can, and get the word and really get this video out, because I feel that a fighter who we have in Tyson Fury, people think, I don't really get that much hate on what I say about Tyson, because it's all true. But for people who think I'm kissing his ass, that's not the case. And I'm gonna go into depth in this video about why Tyson Fury is one of the greatest heavyweights already, and I believe why he will prove that he is one of the greatest fighters to come out of boxing in the heavyweight history. He might not be up there in the top 5 or top 10, but the thing is that he will be remembered as a great fighter. Okay, he will be remembered and he will be named amongst them great heavyweights. And I'm going to explain why in this video. Okay, so Tyson Fury, first of all, let's just go back to the very beginning. Who is this man on the right? If you don't know who this guy is on the right, it is a guy by the name of Bartley Gorman. I was given a book, and by the way, if I make any mistakes, just please forgive me, because it's going to be quite a broad video talking about a range of different things that I haven't read on in quite a while. But yeah, so Bartley Gorman, he was known as King of the Gypsies, and it was a book I was given. And I read quite a bit of that book. I'm not going to say I finished it back to front, but I did read a lot of it. And it was very interesting reading about Bartley Gorman. And I remember when I was young, my elder brother used to get, them old VHS tapes, and used to put on bare knuckle boxing. Some of my family members got involved in some bare knuckle fights, got paid for it, and yeah, since I was young, I was always around the boxing scene, and my brother, I'm talking when I was very young in primary school, I used to always be watching Prince Nassim Hamed, Mike Tyson. I grew up around boxing. The first boxing gym I went to was when I was in high school in year 7 or 8, I believe. And I was always into my boxing at that young age, and I grew up around it. And I remember watching a documentary at some point. I don't know how old I was, but it had Peter Fury in there. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Bartley Gorman in a second, right, and who he is. But yeah, I'm sure I very vaguely remember it. It was a very, very vague memory, and I can't. And it was on TV, right? And I remember watching this program, and I did not know who the hell Tyson Fury was back then, but he was pretty new. And it was a documentary about it was just basically about his name. And Peter Fury, I'm sure it was Peter, was on the TV. Not Peter, sorry, it was John Fury. It wasn't Peter. It was John Fury. And he was talking about how he named his son Tyson, and how his son is going to one day become heavyweight champion of the world. And I just remember watching that. I just remember watching that documentary, and they were showing pictures of Tyson when he was born, and this was a very long time ago. We're talking, and I'm sure Tyson Fury must have been in the amateur ranks at that point or something. So anyway, so I read this book on Bartley Gorman going back a few years after that, and it was King of the Gypsies, and I read about how gypsies have different they have different, I don't know what you want to call it, castes, different families, whatever. And there's like a group of a family, right? And they have different names. You've got the Gormans, you've got the Furies, and there's a few others, and they're all related, if you will, okay? And that's their clan, that's their crew, that's their family, that's their caste, whatever you want to call it, yeah. And Fury is related to Bartley Gorman, and he comes from that same line, okay, and they're not that distantly related. I believe it's from his mother's side. And Bartley Gorman became king of the Gypsies, and he was one of the best fighters around. If you go on Google, you can search him up. You can get his book. You can read about him. He was a great fighter. Okay, and the Tyson Fury, the Fury family as well. Peter Fury, John Fury, them guys can scrap, and it just seems to me fitting that someone from that clan, right, someone from that family, can come and become heavyweight champion of the world. And it was like it was destined to be, and whether you believe in God, whether you don't believe in God, whether you believe in whatever, you've got to, you got to find it pretty like bizarre and pretty fitting that Tyson Fury became heavyweight champion of the world. And I'm gonna go into, it's not just this, right? This is like setting the scene. But I mean, the gypsy people, right? Most of them, the ones that I've met, and I've met some bad gypsies as well. I've met some some assholes, to be fair, disrespectful, drunk, and you get that. But I've also come across some very respectful people. Peter Fury, Tyson Fury's uncle, has to be amongst the most respectful people I've ever met in my life. The entire Fury camp, very respectful. When I met Tyson, he was so respectful. And I'm telling you the truth, that when I sat down with Tyson Fury to do an interview with him, and you guys must know I've been going on about this for a long time. When I sat down with Tyson Fury to do the interview, if you look at my Tyson Fury interview, the sit-down one that I did in the basement of his gym, you'll see, and I've got a yellow top on it. It was Ramadan, I was fasting. There was an aura about Tyson Fury, and that I've not seen in any other fighter. And I've interviewed so many different ones, and I wasn't the only one there. I was with a friend of mine, and he said the same thing, that it was weird, and it was the room when I was with Tyson Fury. It was like a tense atmosphere because the topic we were talking about was a deep topic. It wasn't about boxing. We were talking about death. We were talking about killings in the world, religion, things like that, and the atmosphere became very tense. And it's not something that I've experienced with any other fighter. And I'm not really a huge believer in these types of things, but I really do feel that Tyson Fury was destined to become heavyweight champion of the world, for whatever that's worth, right? It might seem ridiculous because it's boxing and it's just a sport and whatever, but to become heavyweight champion of the world and to become this big name in the world, and to do something great, you've got to be a great person. I've met Anthony Joshua as well, and he's a great guy and a really good guy, but I didn't feel anything like that when I was in the room with him, nothing close. So anyway, like I was saying, so Tyson Fury, right, he's come along, he's had a decent amateur record, he's coming from a line of fighters, a family of fighters, and he came into the professional ranks, and you've got to understand this. Tyson Fury was not given this on a platter to face Fury. No, Tyson Fury was ranked number 1 in the world when he faced Vladimir Klitschko, okay? He'd been going on about how he's going to become champion of the world and how it's going to be Klitschko that he beats, and etc, etc, etc. And Tyson Fury's not trained by any other trainer than his uncle, okay, and his dad. They're the people who really, and I believe it's Peter who holds the key to Tyson's success, and it's Peter who really grew Tyson Fury as a fighter and helped him to achieve victory, not just physically but mentally, over Vladimir Klitschko, because I think Vladimir Klitschko was beaten in the ring before he stepped into that ring. And I'm being honest, that only great men can do that. Only great fighters, great people, a very clever minded person can overcome and beat someone mentally like Vladimir Klitschko, who had been undefeated for so long. And let me just go back to this, okay? Let's get around all the BS, okay? We're going to get straight into the real stuff. Tyson Fury went on to beat Vladimir Klitschko, not through him being selected as an opponent, okay? Anthony Joshua has been selected, okay? He's not any mandatory for Klitschko, nothing. He's the IBF World Heavyweight Champion, and I've got, a lot of appreciation for Anthony Joshua for what he does, because he gives us some great nights of boxing, and he's a really good, solid fighter, okay? And he might go down as a great fighter in history. He could do whatever. But this is about Tyson Fury, and there's a reason I rate him so highly. He went and became the number 1 challenger for Vladimir Klitschko, and Vladimir Klitschko had no option but to fight Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury then, once upon beating all the competition set out in front of him and beating all the ranked fighters, setting himself in a position to become a mandatory. Okay, he wasn't given this. He didn't have a good promotional team behind him to get him this. He went through the hard route of the professional ranks with not a brilliant amateur Olympic record or anything to bump him up. He didn't have the image of a great boxer. Nobody thought he could achieve it. He was a gypsy. Against all odds, he became the number one mandatory challenger to Klitschko's titles. Okay, people called him fat. People called him a gypsy bastard. If you go on Twitter, you type in Tyson Fury, you look at the comments, you will see a lot of hate there for Tyson Fury. Okay, and I've heard it in gyms. People talking about Tyson Fury and saying that fat gypsy pikey bastard. I've heard it, and it's hurtful that we live in a day and age where people will label everybody with the same brush, and I don't like it and it gets to me because I've met people like Peter and Tyson, and I see how respectful Tyson's dad is as well, and his team, his brother, I've met them all, and they're such good people, and I've met really nice gypsy people aside from that as well, and it's upsetting to me that people can say this type of stuff because I've met assholes, and do you know what? The truth is that a lot of gypsy people are rude, but then a lot of them are really nice and good as well, and that's the thing. That's the same for everybody. Every single race you go to, every single whatever, everybody has good and bad in them, And I'm going off topic. Point is, right, Tyson Fury, against all the hate, against all the doubters, against all the odds, he went in against a very skilled, a very powerful, Klitschko can crack, and a very consistent fighter who carries one of the longest reigning give me a second. He carries one of the longest reigning undefeated reigns in boxing history. Okay, now I'm not exactly sure how long it is, but I'm pretty sure it was getting close to being right up there with Joe Louis. Or did he beat Joe Louis's record? I can't even remember, right? I don't know how long Klitschko's been undefeated, but it's been a very long time. And for Tyson Fury to go and do that against Klitschko, where Klitschko has looked so dominant, where he looks like he can't be defeated, Tyson Fury got himself into the number one spot, went in against all odds, and to be honest, beat Klitschko quite a few rounds. He outpointed Klitschko pretty convincingly, and he actually embarrassed Klitschko. He busted him up. He busted his eye. He outdid him with the footwork. He did what he said he was gonna do, and he beat Klitschko in his hometown with everything in Klitschko's favor, against all odds. Used his brain power to do it, and honestly, to come where Tyson Fury's come from the heritage that he's got, to do what he's done with the family he's done it with the name that he's got. It seems like to me he was destined to become the heavyweight champion of the world, and he won several titles that night. And I think that what he did has been brushed under the carpet. And I don't think it's been acknowledged properly by boxing fans. I don't think it's been acknowledged properly how great he is as a fighter and who he is and where he comes from, and to be able to live up to the hype, live up to the name, to fight his battle and do what he did. I think it is absolutely disgusting that people don't give him the props for what he's done. When Muhammad Ali beat Sonny, and yes, I'm talking Muhammad Ali in the same video as Tyson Fury. I'm not comparing, I'm just saying history of boxing, yeah? What Muhammad Ali did against Sonny Liston, it wasn't appreciated at the time. And I understand where people come from when they see Fury and they think he's a bit clumsy and the fight was boring against Klitschko and whatever, okay? But the truth is, to beat someone like Klitschko, it's not going to be easy. You're not going to land shots easy. You've got to be awkward. It's hard. It's hard, to outpoint and outskill Klitschko. It's not going to look pretty. It's going to look a bit rough. It's going to look a bit awkward. You're going to miss shots. Klitschko's not going to land. You're going to see with Anthony Joshua and Klitschko, you're going to see Joshua looking stupid at times. He's going to miss a lot of punches, And you're going to see this. He's not going to be landing clean on Klitschko. And which one of Klitschko's fights have been clean? Another thing is this, right? When Tyson Fury faced Derek Chisora, as an example, You see him, he's got so much skill in the bank using his shoulder roll off the southpaw stance. Okay? Him as a fighter, he doesn't load up on shots. Okay? He throws a variety of different shots. He's got a really good defense, really good footwork, and he's got a flipping wicked boxing brain on him. You know? And I think it's these things what make Tyson Fury great. Everything combined. You know, from his footwork, for, you know, fighting in the southpaw stance, the orthodox stance, to be able to use a shoulder roll from the southpaw stance. How many British fighters can do this? Tell me which British fighter can do this to the extent that Tyson Fury's done it in. And Tyson Fury went and beat a legit fighter in Vladimir Klitschko. He ain't beating no bum for this title. He hasn't beaten a bum for the title. He didn't just get given the shot as well. He got himself, first of all, he got himself into the #1 rankings in the world. #1 slot. Okay? Legitly. He didn't just skip fighters. He went and fought his way all the way to the top. And then once he fought his way to the top, he forced Vladimir Klitschko into a fight and went and beat him in his hometown with everything in his favour and against all odds, against a very consistent fighter, and he did all that. That, for me, is one of the greatest wins that I've seen in my lifetime. Irrespective of how he did it, boring, not boring, he did it. He did what he said he was going to do, and he did it. And for me, Tyson Fury is... he's a great fighter, and he's gone down in the history of boxing. Comment section below, subscribe as always, Be Real TV. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Tyson Fury, coming from where he comes from to do what he's done. It's destiny, man. In a bit, guys.